Right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday, February 27th, 2024 Select Board meeting. This meeting will be broadcast live and recorded by Foxborough Cable Access. We apologize for a little bit of a late start. We had an executive committee meeting that went a tad longer than we thought. We'll start with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Awesome, thank you. Anybody here for citizens' input?
I am.
Okay, sir.
Oh, careful your chair.
I don't want to fall down.
No, it's spinning right behind you.
I'm Paul Dumas, C. Paul Dumas, 4 Adams Street, Foxborough, Mass. And I'm up here not just as a citizen, but as the president of the Friends of Foxborough Seniors. And I want to commend the board for the sense of urgency that you had on the property that Church of Latter-day Saints on Central Street, Main Street, as a potential new community center. And from what I've seen and heard, you're dealing with the prudence to protecting the town, and I want to applaud you for those efforts. The Council on Aging Board and the Friends of Foxborough Seniors Board, all of those boards, which is a total of about 19 people, and then the members that we have, that come to our monthly meetings, which are usually in the range of 25 plus. Seniors are very excited about the potential to get a new community center to enlarge the space for activities. Current building, it's underspaced, and it's got lack of parking. These are both problems. And certainly that, everybody that's gone in there, and I applaud you for touring it, and you've had inspections, and I know that, other people have seen it. I haven't, but enthusiasm seems to be the word I'm hearing. And so I just want to, encourage you to seize this opportunity. Won't come along too often. The current programs at the senior center are good, but sometimes they put caps on the number of people that can attend. And that they could probably run more programs with a bigger facility with more parking. So I just want to encourage you. This is, I'll bet, at least 40 or 50 people have talked to me at church, around town, at the senior center, about this and enthusiastic. So, you probably all want to approach by people as well, And the big thing, in the 80s, when I was on the school committee, there was talk about doing something for the adolescents in town, middle school kids and high school kids. And we never really did that very well. We haven't. And this is the potential to enhance the recreation opportunities, across the demographics of the whole town. And this will make the gym of Foxborough even more of a gym. So thank you for your efforts. I appreciate it, and confident that we'll be talking ribbon cutting at some point. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Perfect timing. All right, no one else here for citizens input? Everybody else is blue, so we're in blue. Up next, we've got update on SEMRECC. Is Chief Kelleher zooming in? Paige, do you know? There he is. You look kind of casual. Can't hear you yet.
Not yet.
Can see you, can't hear you.
Can
Can you hear me now?
Oh, there we go. Yep.
Okay.
All right. So we're talking SEMRECC.
Okay, so just want to give you a quick update on SEMRECC. As you guys know, the whole genesis of SEMRECC was regionalization. We were trying to build a regional communication center, lower our capital costs, kind of provide a better service. So one of the things we're exploring now is we're really looking to expand that. We're partnering with the REC, the Regional Communication Center that's right next door in Franklin, Northborough, Plainville, and Rentham. So you guys informed, we wanted to kind of pass that along. I don't know if you guys have any questions, but
Sure.
You can see the cost of raising this year. The idea of this would be to keep the capital costs and the operating costs down to the minimum to keep our, our assessment as low as possible. The only way to do that really is to add communities to take advantage of the grant program and, the economies of scale to some of the capital purchases and things like that, spread the cost over more communities. So just want to keep you guys, informed on that in case it came up in conversation. I know these conversations are going in the towns across the Southeast region, so just in case you guys heard anything. I don't know if you have any questions. I'm trying to keep it brief. I know Chief Byrnes is Ms. Dean waiting. I know he's going to go over.
You already know he's going over.
Yeah, we're going to bet over and under 30 minutes.
Any questions from the board? All right. Way to be brief. That's awesome.
All right.
All right. Good luck with the grilling tomorrow.
Thank you.
All righty.
Talk to you soon.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Next up, over under 30 minutes. There we go.
7:30 exactly.
So I would just mention to Mr. Dumas' point earlier, here's some folks who were kids in Foxborough in the 80s and 90s and maybe could have used a little more support from the community, right? Because look what happened to these guys. It's, right?
Actually, are you from Foxborough too? Okay, so
Yeah.
everyone is.
Yeah.
Okay.
All Foxborough High grads. So next up on the agenda is in our monthly updates of various departments. Today, we have the police department giving their update and telling us a lot of great stuff that's going on.
Well, I just want to thank the board for having us here to present to you and also to the residents of Foxborough. With me is Deputy Chief Noonan, Lieutenant Adam Byrnes, and Lieutenant John Chamberlin. And yes, as discussed, we are all bred, born in Foxborough, or at least we all went through the school system. Seth, thanks for highlighting that.
At least I could do, Mike.
So as the department continues to just thrive, I just want to touch upon a couple things about the agency as Foxborough is. It is considered as we get tested out at a state and at a local level, one of the strongest police departments in the Commonwealth. And we hit so many benchmarks throughout the year. Many of those will be touched upon tonight. We are built to run a town, but we are tasked with running a city. And we're working on that. As you can see, the four of us, we are just kind of representing the men and women who work at Foxborough. We are delivering a message tonight about all the services. So we get that honor to represent them because it's a team. And it's a team of 42 police officers delivering police services 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. A couple things that are important. We are still, as been discussed in the past, we maintain our accreditation. We are meeting all of our post requirements through the police reform. All of our state and federal crime reporting is all being reported. Our use of force is being done. All of our grants are in compliance at the state and federal level on a quarterly basis. And really, we're thriving and we're running on all cylinders. So that's just a quick overview. It's important that the board know that their agency is top-notch in hitting all those. That, of course, is one of our best pictures we've ever taken of the department for the Army Navy.
Is that everybody? Is everybody able to get in that picture?
Well, besides who's on a call.
Okay.
So not quite everybody, but as many as we could get
Yeah.
with that timeline. So tonight, I'm gonna talk administratively about the duties that obviously as a police chief I have to deal with. Deputy chief is gonna hit the stadium part. John Chamberlin is our operations lieutenant, and will really be focusing on patrol. And Adam Byrnes is the administrative lieutenant. This is his first time at the table. He was recently promoted about 9 months ago, and I feel like he's been here for 3 years. He's just really thrived and really helped carry. I'm afraid to do another presentation, because last time I did, one of my command staff became the chief, so. So, my report is, one of the many, many things that I'm tasked with doing is our license to carry. These are some of the things you wouldn't think they're much of an issue, but, we had 298 new applications this year. These are new applications, these are people who are trained and they want to have their LTC, they're Foxborough residents. Every one of these requires a full background check and almost like hiring a new employee, checking everything from criminal record, mental health, fingerprint, triple I. And on top of that, we also have to renew all of the current license that people have every 5 years. So currently we have 1,709 LTC licensed individuals in Foxborough. So when we take down the renewals, we take the new applications every single week, we have to do 12 renewals. This includes backgrounds, fingerprint, interviews. So it's 12 a week, every single week. So it's a lot, believe it or not. And and when some of the cases become denials, they turn into court trials. So people can appeal it in front of a judge, and then we're off in that direction as well.
How many did we have like 10 years ago? Was it?
I don't know.
Yeah, like 1,000 or, I
Every
mean, just
time-
curious.
Every time there's an issue about regulating
Yeah,
firearms,
people buy
we get
more.
a spike.
Yeah,
And we saw that, and then we had some civil unrest issues 2 or 3 years ago. We saw a spike. COVID, huge spike.
Yeah.
People were sitting around and taking classes, and they came in, and we never missed a beat. We stayed on top of it. We didn't get behind because we're mandated by law to meet timelines. Public records request, once in a while, the board will have a situation in regards to a public records request, and they have to dig through it, go through the emails. Currently this year, we're at 1,400, 2023, we are at 1,431. This is everything. This is police reports, this is any kind of data, any kind of information, people doing surveys, use of force investigations, maybe internal affairs reports, you name it. On average, we break it down, it takes about 40 minutes, depending on the nature of redacting every single one of these. So my I have 2 administrative staff. One of them, 40 to 50% of his entire job is gone, just on public records requests, right? That is before we have now gone into the world of body cameras. And those 2 are gonna be a public records request. He will sit through them, he's gonna have to identify what we can and can't do in the redaction part. We'll get into with Lieutenant Byrnes. I also have Lee McCarthy, who is like my go-to person, and she really assists with the LTC, with scheduling and managing and keeping everything in line with the state, but she also does all of the billing for the police department. So we did $3.5 million in billing last year. So and we've collected 100% of all of that. So that all happens in the police department. We bill, we invoice, we collect. Finance department doesn't do this for us. We don't have a business office. This is all us.
should they? I mean, is this standard police?
I think in a small department, we didn't have $2 million in bills for Gillette. Chasing that money, doing the detail billing for some of the road jobs, I think the load is less. But I don't foresee how the finance department could do the Gillette billing when we run hundreds and hundreds of offices and matching those up with assignments, making sure all the pay codes match, depending on the date, the time, how many hours they worked.
So this is the most efficient as far as, in your opinion?
Say it works.
Yeah, so I get it, it works, a lot of things work, and I'm just thinking about Is there an opportunity here? And we can talk about it another time. I'm just calling it out.
We're constantly
Yeah.
trying to find different programs where we can export the information right into it. All those programs come with a billing fee. And what happens is the hundreds of offices become users, and then they become a user fee just to have them in the program. So they don't give you like the group discount, where you sign up for the program, we'll give you an unlimited amount. So if we were to check out how many offices that we process on a regular basis every year, it's in the hundreds. So that's what they kind of catch us a little bit.
So just something to think about, like as we
Yes.
move forward, if there's an
And we are.
opportunity, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Great.
Within this year, thank God, you hired an HR director. I can tell you, we have been doing HR, like as long as I've been a police officer here. Mary Beth was here for a little while, but essentially we do all the onboarding, we do all the background checks, we are doing the medical appointments, we're sending them out for their psychologicals. This year alone, we hired 7 full-time police officers and 6 reserve officers. Each one of those, including the 6 officers, the reserves, all require the same amount of onboarding. We had a couple officers leave, Lieutenant Fitzgerald, Patrick McCarthy went off to the state police, and 2 officers retired. So that is over 10% of our staff that we had a turnover on, that we have to manage, bring in. So we're hoping, and Paige has really demonstrated at Bolito her skill set in HR and working for a municipality. So we're really hoping she can help us a little bit with this.
And I talked to her too, even about like game day. Again, I don't know what you want to give up, so I'm not saying that, but seeing what Lee does, like she does a lot. So,
He's first one in, working on all the assignments, changing
Yeah.
everything, any last minute calls in, and then she actually shows up to the speed and does all the check-ins.
yeah, I told Paige she needs to go watch how much Lee does,
Yeah.
you know, it's a lot,
So she's first in, last out.
yeah.
And then you get stuck with a pile in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have to go take all that data and enter it to Munis. And then you have to match it perfectly to the hour.
Mm-hmm. And Lee's doing that.
Lee, and then Bob Bulger is also, he's downtown working on some of it as well. So, you know, game day, you have 200 plus employees working, and they're not just working 8 hours, they're working 12 hours, 16 hours, different, and the pay codes get a little complicated depending on who they are. All right, I'm gonna be brief, so I think did I go over 5 minutes, 7
10.
minutes?
That's,
100% overage.
Caliber's got one there.
Yeah.
Looking pretty good right now. Good evening. As the chief touched upon, we're still accredited police department. We received our accreditation in October of 2022, which is not a small task. Being accredited means that we are meeting the best practices in policing, not only locally, but also nationally. Being accredited is a constant daily work. We're constantly making sure that we're meeting our required standards, and those standards are always evolving. So currently, Lieutenant Byrnes is taking over the accreditation department. We're working furiously to maintain our compliance with the accreditation, but with all good things, things improve. So we got accredited on the 5th edition. We're now working on the 6th edition. So we're constantly reevaluating all of our policies and making sure we're meeting the new language within the new standards. In October 2025, we'll be going for reassessment. And I talked about this last year. When we talked about Gillette, we really are the unique police department in the country. We're the tale of 2 police departments, we call it. We're responsible for policing Foxborough on a day-to-day basis and providing police services to our community members. On set events throughout the year, which ends up being close to 30, 40 events, sometimes 50 events a year, we're responsible for providing police services to Gillette Stadium, up to 70,000 people plus. Huge responsibility. We're unique in the NFL because we are the smallest police department responsible for policing NFL Stadium. They do compliance checks, they do inspections, and we're proud to announce that we come out on top almost every single time. So we put a lot of effort into providing police services to our community. We're fully engaged in our community, but we're also fully committed to policing Gillette Stadium. Our goal for every event is to provide professional police services and also provide a safe and secure environment. In 2023, 1.6 million people passed through the gates of Gillette Stadium that we were responsible for. We did the math, it equals 80 times the town's population. It's a pretty good feat for a small police department. The year in review for 2023, we had 12 concerts, 3 of which were 3 in a row with Taylor Swift, 70,000 plus. 9 Patriot games, a historic Army-Navy game, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Monster Jam, 1 PLL lacrosse, and then 20 Revolution games plus a dozen Revs 2 games. 3 days of high school Super Bowls, 2 weeks of training camps, 2 Bridgewater State graduations, and other events that officers are assigned to. And this is also does not include the number of details that we have at Patriot Place, providing police services for the several thousand people that go there every weekend.
Yep.
Like I said, we have the smallest police department in the country that has an NFL stadium. We can't do it without partnerships. We have very strong partnerships with over 27 communities that help support us. Like the chief talked about, we have a high number of police officers that need to work at night. Our 40 plus officers cannot staff that without our assistance. We rely upon our federal, state, and local partners. We have a great relationship with the craft group as well as Team Ops. This is just a small, a good portion of the number of the local departments in the area that help us. We pretty much go from Plymouth to Warren Bridge all the way up past 495 and a couple of towns I've never heard of before.
Wales. Wales was the winner.
Where's that?
Wales, Mass?
It's up there, UMass.
Yes.
Really?
So the highlight of our 2023 Gillette season was the Army-Navy game. I've been responsible for Gillette Stadium since 2016, so planned and operated hundreds of events, and throughout the course of my career, doing the math, almost close to 1,000 events. I would say this was the most labor-intensive and most rewarding event that we've all worked. All the officers that worked the event had a great experience. Not only did they take the assignments seriously, but they also enjoyed the camaraderie of working with the people that attended the game as well as the number of military officials. Protecting America's game. It's called America's game for a reason. It's Army versus Navy. Once again, we partnered with all our federal, state, and local private partners, but because of the uniqueness of this event, it was the first time partnering with numerous federal agencies that we never worked with before. We were fortunate enough to establish great relationships with all of them. We also had to work with each military academy and several branches of the United States military. They all came with unique requirements and expectations, and we not only met those expectations, we exceeded them. We had a meeting today as a follow-up to the Army-Navy game, and Army, who's in charge of this year's event, said that their fan base was blown away by the reception they received from not only the town of Foxborough, but the Foxborough Police Department. Preparations included numerous meetings, phone calls, and a large-scale tabletop exercise where we went through training exercises to test our abilities to respond to a critical incident and to make sure that we had the teamwork that we have in place. Based on the Army-Navy game, high-level dignitary protection responsibilities. It was the number of dignitaries was unmatched at any event ever at Gillette Stadium. Just some of the guests that included the current and former chairmen of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Secretary of Defense, Secretary of the Army, Secretary of the Navy, the Commandant of the United States Marine Corps, the White House Chief of Staff, several governors, senators, other elected officials, and other high-profile dignitaries. And this was we wanted to make an experience, so we worked hard with the Recreation Department and the schools to create an experience in the academies, and the townspeople came out and welcomed both the military academies, marathon teams as they ran the ball through Foxborough. That was a highlight for every one of these kids that ran from their respective academies. And it was able for each community member to come out and support the team that they wanted, and several families came here. So we kicked off the Army-Navy game with a highlight for the town. And after all the plan that went in the Army-Navy game, we're now on to World Cup 2026. We're fiercely working now to work with all of our partners, and we'll be shortly engaged with FIFA as we welcome 7 soccer matches in June of 2026, and we're expecting close to 500,000 people that will come to Foxborough. So we're excited to be ready for FIFA, and I'm sure you guys will be hearing a lot more as we get closer.
How you doing? I'm Lieutenant John Chamberlin. I'm in charge of the patrol division. That's what you see driving around town in the cruisers, the uniforms, work 24/7, 365 days a year. I'm in charge of 6 sergeants, 24 patrol officers, 3 school resource, 25 reserves, which use the stadium and also help our shifts and details around town, and 1 animal control officer. calls for service, what these numbers show is just how hard the men and women in Foxborough Police work. For 24 officers to answer 28,000 calls in a year, it's a pretty incredible number for a small town. They stopped 2,500 cars for violations, wrote 2,000 citations, responded to 600 crashes, arrested 282 people, warrants 293. Mental health crisis, we'll get that a little bit later. Drug overdose, we had 12 in the town, unattended deaths. Domestic violence for a small town, which doesn't show we're immune, a large number right there. School safety was 3 school officers, and they cover 5 Foxborough schools and 3 regional charter schools. Attendance about 4,162. The SROs are supervised by Sergeant Meg Allen and Sergeant Val Collins. Some of the stuff they did this year, we trained all the teachers and staff, specialized training to protect themselves. We had our first junior police academy at the Hill School, which was a big hit with all the little kids. They presented career day, social media, bus safety, Ruby Bridges walk to school. We were there High Five Friday for the kids all in school to rotate around. YMC summer camp. All the SROs are certified to national standards, and this summer they're going to do a police academy for middle school students. So they're getting a large response for that already, so we're looking forward to that. Trends in Foxborough, so you can see the accidents. There's more people getting on the road from COVID, there's nobody on the road. That's one of the things we're working on. Each year it seems to get more and more things, with the town getting busier, more people driving through, and more events, the accidents are increasing. Some of the stuff we're doing for that is we're purchasing the new traffic common signs. You've seen those on Oak Street, Cannon. We have a new branch and purchase a few more. What they do is just tell the drivers to slow down. And a lot of people in the streets have been really happy about that. We're using analytics to have more efficient traffic enforcement. Sergeant Buckley is picturing the photo there. We put out this thing, capture the data to show if there's actual problem, what time the speedings happen, so we can have our officers go there and do that. Officer fails. This is a picture with Chief Grace. He won the Traffic Officer of the Year for 2023, which he also, the year before that, another officer, Brian DeGraff, did it. So hopefully we can get the hat trick and get the next officer. That was for the entire Northeast for AAA.
Wow.
Foxborough also was awarded the safety for the community. And that was with our partnerships with the Highway Department, the Recreation, planning stuff like the Halloween parades, the Christmas light, the common and stuff. So it was a award we were happy at. And I know the chief's one of his future plans is hopefully a dedicated officer who would just do traffic, respond to every citizen, follow up, conduct the enforcements, the analytics and stuff like that, which it really seems to be what a lot of citizens' main complaint is about. New initiatives we started in patrol, the domestic violence unit. We did 172 follow-ups with victims of sexual and domestic violence. When patrol officers go to the scene, we'll try to get a number, an email, anything. One of these other officers are trained in this can follow up. Sometimes people don't need help, don't request at the time, but later on they will. This unit has also reached out to thousands and can go on to different events and stuff, passing out pamphlets and trying to pass the message. We're also starting a human trafficking unit. We're going to work with Boston State Police in partnership with the area hotels in town and sex trafficking around here. Some of the stuff we've seen is a lot of the major events that brings in this to the town. We're looking to get that out of the hotels and get it out of our community and get people help. Mental health calls. Christine LaRose, a clinician, has been wonderful. She's worked with us. As the calls have been going up, when you see only 124 calls, I think everyone here will say, these calls are hour intensive and manpower intensive. You're taking someone to a hospital, you're calling Riverside clinician, come here. This isn't something that clears in a few minutes or it takes a bunch of the shift and most of the day to take care of these calls. And having Christine LaRose on board has helped. She's done a lot of follow-ups, which is, this number I can imagine will be a lot higher about her as well as the follow-up calls. And to eliminate, she's got these people to help. And Chief Grace is committed to getting every officer trained in CIT. The One Mind campaign pledge for about 85%. That's where officers, when they arrive at de-escalation, they recognize mental health issues we won't have problems down the line, we give people help without overreacting or anything.
What is the CIT, John? I'm not-
Crisis intervention training,
Oh, okay, thanks.
a lot of times people go, there could be substance abuse, it could be mental health. It's training, it's pretty intense, it teaches the people what to look for, signs to recognize it's just not someone having a bad day, it's like the underlying factors.
Okay, thanks.
As the new mental health facility, Northeast Health Services, help with access?
They're good, we get a list every day of all the community, all the beds and everything open.
Right.
And Ms. LaRose really has connections everywhere, all these different things, and she can guide these people to the proper treatment and stuff, if we could get help. Opioid trends, as you can see, this is the overdose we've had in town. The numbers went down, but the fentanyl and the fatal percentages are going up. And that is, our thing we do with that is we're also in a critical incident management system. We're notified if any of our residents overdose in Massachusetts. 2 trained officers, plain clothes, we don't want to stigmatize anything, will show up to their house with someone, try to offer them services. The clinician has also been doing this, and I said we receive a list of daily detox, medical assistant treatment beds, available guide assistance. Also, every officer on my patrol is trained and carries Narcan, and that number of 3 would be a lot higher. Lieutenant Byrnes in his presentation will actually show you body cam footage of about a month ago, where our officer saved a girl's life with Narcan after a car accident. So the number definitely been higher if the officers weren't trained in using that. We're also part of METRO-LEC. That's part of 46 local towns and sheriff's departments. A lot of times if a big incident happens in Foxborough, you've got 3 guys on the side, you can call people in for overtime, but the resources just aren't there. METRO-LEC offers these things: canine, child abductions, computer crime, special weapons tactics, regional response. So if we had a lost child, or like an Alzheimer's, something like that, you can call in countless resources. We had a child missing once. We called in the drone. Drone located the child under the snow, under a thing with heat signature. But this is something that's really good for the town. We also use the SWAT team at all the Gillette events for extra security and specialized. They really, if the Army Navy, and they really help us a lot. I'll turn it over to Mr. Byrnes, who'll play caught up.
No pressure on Adam, though.
Yeah, I think we've gone over our time.
It's a lost cause.
We'll try, yeah, we'll try.
No, you're not there yet. You're not.
The boring part, the administrative side here. But as the chief said, Lieutenant Adam Byrnes, just about 9 months ago took the position here, so, you know, I'm still on the learning curve, but we're moving pretty quickly. I'm an administrative lieutenant, so in the current structure of the organization, these are the pieces that fall under the administrative side. So the detective division, court, I supervise the court, property and evidence, the new body-worn camera program, which we'll get into a little more detail here in a minute. I'm also the accreditation manager, training coordinator, field training officer, supervisor, fleet manager, oversee the drone program, records management, technology, radios, the facilities, and then the liaison to the SEMRECC, to the regional dispatcher, which we talked about earlier. 2023 for the detective division, as usual, they investigate our major crimes in conjunction with the patrol division and also our external partners with local, federal, and state agencies, along with the DA's offices. They also provide resources, help train some of the investigatory cases with the patrol division to help them. You know, we're small departments, sometimes it's good to have your patrol division that can do some of these investigations too. Some of the key cases that they worked on this last year was cruelty to animals, rape, vehicle theft, death, drugs, larceny, break-in, entering, etc. I think one of the more notable cases was the fan incident at Gillette that we worked heavily with some of the partner agencies with to work on that, to include the district attorney's office. Co-prosecutor is Officer Carrie Kilroy. She does all of our filing for arrest and criminal complaints with the appropriate court. Typically, that's Rentham Juvenile Court Rentham District Court or Rentham Juvenile Court. She also provides the court with all the discovery requests, and recently again with the body-worn camera footage, 911 calls, supplemental reports, and anything else that they're requesting for evidence. And in this last year, she filed 512 criminal complaints, and those were either arrest or criminal summons. Property and Evidence Officer Jimmy Kanata. The evidence room maintains any items that are pertinent to ongoing investigations and legal proceedings. Last year, we had approximately 600 pieces come in and 450 go out. And that leaves us still with about 2,000 pieces of evidence that he meticulously maintains in the evidence room. Body-worn cameras, this was obviously the biggest change to our department this year, both with the technology and just the change in what we're doing every day. So we were able to purchase these the previous year with some grant money to help assist with the cost to purchase the body cameras. The chief went through the negotiations with the union, came up with our policies and procedures. We were able to start a soft rollout with the body camera program in September, and that soft rollout really was about 10 officers, a couple from each shifts, so we could kind of just see, whether our procedures were going to work, if there's any changes we need to make so we kind of did a 3-phase. We started with that soft rollout. We went to about half the department wearing them, and then we did full implementation in November of this year. And since then, every full-time officer has been wearing them every day on patrol. Overwhelmingly positive feedback from officers in the community. We've only had it for a few months. We're kind of, we wanted to do the kind of crawl, walk, run. We're probably in the walk phase now, but really everyone that's used them can't believe we've gone this long without them. It gives transparency to the community. It allows officers to feel more confident in what they're doing, to know that every interaction is now going to be video recorded.
And that's great to hear.
It is.
That's
Yeah.
great to hear that feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the, and I don't want to say, one of the challenges, I guess, with body cameras is that, and the chief kind of alluded to it earlier, is with the video is not only the storage of the video, which we base our video retention on state retention periods and how long we have to maintain those videos for, but also as public record requests go up and court requests go up as we have more and more videos. We've talked with the larger agencies like State Police, Boston Police, but also the similar agencies to our size that are using body cameras along with Axon and the other companies. And the rough calculation for video redaction is 4 hours for every 1 hour of video. So if we are at a scene for an hour with 3 officers and somebody requests that body camera footage, that's potentially 12 man-hours of work to redact those videos before we can release them. So there is a significant amount of time on the back end, along with these, never mind our everyday records requests, but once, with the videos, it can be pretty cumbersome and time consuming. So with that, I know Lieutenant Chamberlin mentioned that there was a quick body cam snippet. So what we did is want to kind of show you what a body camera does capture, that every officer's wearing. We did just redact the operator of the vehicle, but it was a call to a crash scene. When the officers got there, it was the midnight shift. They recognized that it was probably an overdose, and they were able to break into the car and use Narcan and potentially save the operator. We just took a quick snippet of that so you can kind of just get an idea of what that looks like.
We'll do a patch this time. On the other side.
And obviously, the officers are trying to get into the vehicle to assist the operators unconscious.
You got it, Steve? Yep. Yeah, that good? I got it over.
The officers doing what they call stern rub, trying to see if there's any bit of arousal from the operator.
Brandon.
Sometimes you gotta use two. Narcan.
So again, just a quick snippet of it. Obviously, the videos are a lot longer from start to finish, but, you know, even a video like this where we just redacted the party, it still takes 10 or 15 minutes to go through just to do even a minute and a half snippet like this. So, again, it offers different angles of the scene, especially when there's multiple officers there. And again, it really has so far, you know, really given officers confidence back when they're on these scenes and they're interacting with the public, knowing that everything's recorded. Department training is, I also oversee that. So we have our state mandated training, which we have to do every year. That's our 40-hour annual in-service, and that's both for full-time and reserve officers now, which really takes our 42-ish man department into a almost 70-person department with our reserve office when it comes to the training standards that we have to comply with. So 40-hour annual in-service, 8 hours of firearms, 4 hours of taser use of force. Defensive tactics is biannually. We have yearly policy reviews, and specialty positions such as school resource officers, SWAT, and canines all have their yearly requirements also. Outside of that, we have some elective trainings. Now, these are the important things that we can kind of work on niches, and we can advance the department in some of these specialty areas and really get a better overall knowledge base for the entire organization. So some of those topics we were able to hit last year were crisis intervention, domestic violence, sex assault, human trafficking, juvenile issues, active shooters, school safety, leadership and liability, investigations, etc. Some of this training is paid through our training budget, and some of it's through grants that we're able to send officers to. Sometimes we're able to host trainings, and we end up with free seats. We do everything we can to you know, save money and utilize the opportunities that we have for our officers. So, our fleet. Right now, we have 15 marked patrol cruisers, and again, that's the patrol side, like Lieutenant Chamberlin talked about. Those are operating 24/7, and I've heard the chief say it before, but those really are the offices for the officers. That's where they live in, that's where they do their work, that's, you know, that's their environment there. We have 4 detail cruisers, which are just retired patrol cars. We have our unmarked specialties, such as detectives and our admin vehicles. We have 2 motorcycles, 3 UTVs, and this year we purchased 2 new patrol cruisers, which just was 2 aging fleet cruisers. Made up for that, we purchased another admin vehicle, and we have a new transport van that's we haven't received yet, but it's on the way. It's they're outfitting it now. And that's replacing our transport van that we've had since 2012. It's really aged out now.
Where's the pickup truck at the F-150?
The pickup truck is in the 15 mark patrol cruiser.
Okay.
It's technically a patrol car,
Oh,
but it
is
doesn't
it?
get utilized for other
Okay.
things. Yep. The drone program, which we briefly mentioned, but we're on about year 3 now, I think, since we started the drone program here. We have 2 FAA licensed drone pilots. We have 3 department drones that are used for various different types of use, which indoor, outdoor, 2 of which have thermal cameras, which Lieutenant Chamberlain talked about the incident where we were able to find a child that was down in the snow based off that thermal image. Both of those, myself and Officer Burt, are part of the METRO-LEC, which serves the 40 communities, so we go out and respond to other communities too with the drone. And it's ideal for missing persons and or animals, and aerial views for officer safety and situational awareness. It really is a game changer in many situations now. I know they're becoming more and more popular for many organizations, not just policing, but they're really valuable now. And just last year, we had 23 drone-specific call-outs for different situations. Technology records management, I'll just hit this briefly. The entire town's moving over to Office 365, which we're currently rolling out. That certainly helps us, especially in the cloud-based remote capabilities of it. The big technological change for us in this coming year will be Hexagon, which is the new dispatch/records management system, and that's going to be through SEMRECC. That changes our current out-of-date system that we've been using since the early 2000s, and it really is going to be kind of the next generation cloud-based software, much better security, user-friendly. It'll interface with our cameras, not in booking areas and everything else we need. And we're going to start the training for that beginning July, so the first quarter of fiscal year 25. Was classroom online learning and kind of training the trainer until everyone's ready to go October 1st when that goes online. And the last thing I'll hit on, just some of the grants that we had this last year, Mass Gaming Commission. For fiscal year '24, we have $61,000, $42,000 is training, $19,000 is for hotel investigations. And the Byrne grant gave us $45,000 for ballistic shields that we ordered a couple weeks ago, just purchased those. And the DPH grant is a multi-year, $125,000 a year for salary, training, overtime, and victim assistance. Currently, this is supposed to end the end of August of this year, but we're going to petition to request an extension because that grant has really been helpful with what they talked about with domestic violence, the sex assault follow-ups, and really being able to be victim-centered and help victims out with some of these opportunities that it provides. So that's all I have, and I'll take it back to the chief for the conclusion. I think we got just under 5 minutes, right? Is that what we finished?
Yeah, we brought it back. I think we're pretty organized. I think we're really open to any questions or comments, if you have any. But it's really, this presentation by this team is strong, and the town should know, and the president should know that the department cares for them. We focus solely on our community on a regular basis. We're part of the community. We came from the community. So, any questions?
I just have a question. Great presentation, great department, great people. Talking to Chief Kelleher, I'm curious from a first responder perspective, how the lack of hospital beds or hospital access has impacted your first responders, you know, with Norwood Hospital being offline and Brockton Hospital being offline. It's really affecting his people a lot because of the nature of their work. Is there an impact on the police as well?
Well, when we start talking about the mental health calls in the Section 12s,
Yeah.
it absolutely does, because now we don't have Norwood Hospital, we don't have ERs.
Right.
Because we have to bring them to an ER for
That's
the
right.
section.
Yeah.
So we end up tying up a staff who now is in that ambulance with that firefighter.
Right.
Because they,
Right,
So
right.
he waits an hour and
Oh,
he's
yeah.
always waiting when he's
Sure,
sitting.
yeah,
yeah, and we have to actually maintain that security
right, that's
of
right.
that patient until the medical staff take control.
Right.
So that becomes, you know, that is just one example, but we've definitely seen the shortage, which is forcing police to find other ways to intervene, to follow up, to use like a licensed clinical social worker, to come on scene, do a family follow-up, reach out, do a lot of the things that we can't do in the moment, but we can start to kind of build and identify the problem so we don't have a repeat customer, because we all know the services, you know, people want to say mental health, oh, it's an easy fix. It's not an easy fix. It's a life challenge. And in Massachusetts, though we are one of these great states with all these hospitals and medical facilities, they have failed. They have failed at every level. Ever since we closed the state hospitals, and we want to really, you know, we have just, you know, just figured it would just go away, and it's not. It's everywhere. It's in every city. It's in every curve. People need resources. They need help. And that DPH grant, we were only one of 3 communities who got that. We're actually able to help provide monetary services to people who need, whether they need oil in their car, in their house, things like that, that under the procurement laws, we can't as a community, and it's really helped us. But yes, it absolutely does. It is definitely, we feel it for sure.
Okay, good.
But to piggyback on the chief, having the public safety clinician in Mr. Rose is been a game changer. It's been night and day. I mean, what she can do and how she can provide services and be there and do the co-response with us is it's vital. I mean, I don't know if we could go back without her now.
I don't think we could.
Yeah.
And our concern is we're burning her out. She's only one person.
Right.
So every single call, either whether DPH, sexual assault, and this is before the fireside, where they're finding elderly people who need resources. There's a follow-up, there's a spreadsheet for every single person that we've touched. And there's a 1 week, a 3 week, there's a 90 day, there's a 4-month follow-up. All of it, we have it all, we have all the data. And the caseload is massive. If I ever told the police officers that we didn't have a licensed clinical social worker at our fingertips, they would be horrified. that's a necessary, and it's really helping us, and when we talk about de-escalation, identifying people, it's been a game changer.
Quick question. This is going to sound weird, but it does have a point. Where does your jurisdiction end? So in other words, you chase a bad guy through backyard in Foxborough and he runs into Mansfield. Do you stop it?
We can transfer authority.
Oh, you can?
For the rest of the offense.
Okay.
It gets a little dicey when we leave the state, which is another problem. Because now we get charged for kidnapping.
Okay.
So unless you have those agreements, so if we end up with custody that is out of state, down in Rhode Island, that's where it becomes a fugitive for justice, but we have to work with in the morning, depending on the nature, and because we do lose our police powers.
Okay.
But otherwise, throughout the whole Commonwealth, that's, we can transfer that.
Okay. Yeah, and that question is just thinking about regional collaborations. Say we agree to share resources with Mansfield or what have you. I'm just thinking about opportunities, again, to be as efficient as possible. So just thinking out loud, but just,
I mean, there are limitations to
yeah.
the.
I didn't know how that works, like if, yeah.
Like, I just can't go work in Mansfield, just handling
Yep.
calls. If you have calls for service, they can request it, there's a process. I'm just not authorized to be
Yeah.
a police officer with police powers anywhere in Massachusetts.
Sure.
That does not exist.
Okay.
I have a couple of just comments. Thank you for bringing the video of the cameras, because I do remember when you guys were just starting to roll it out, and you had a couple of officers, I don't want to give any names, but I just happened to ask an officer how he felt, and he, I think some people have that perception of that it's going to catch policemen doing something they shouldn't have been doing, when in fact, he felt the opposite. He was thrilled to put it on, and I thought to myself, with everything that's going on in this world now, that it gives you guys almost the protection that instead of being accused of something, everything's right there. All the tape is there, and I can't even imagine what that is if you face something that you don't face every day, and then the training you get from watching how you handled it, whether it was perfect or whether you felt like there was a different way you could handle it. So it's great to hear that that's rolling out, positively for your staff. And the other thing is, just to see some of the numbers, the domestic violence, the overdoses, I think we just think of Foxborough as this quaint, small town, and all these problems are everywhere. Doesn't matter where you live, and the fact that your staff is prepared for these and you're continuously training. It's just, as a citizen, not just sitting up here, it's great to see everything that's going on in your department to make you at least as prepared as you can be for all these instances. And a lot of those problems, we all hear on television a domestic violence case and a police officer being injured or killed as trying to, protect who's there. Canine dogs, and, we've all heard other communities that have had tragedy. So it's just eye-opening that we're just like everywhere. We're not just this little sweet town, Foxborough, that the problems are here and that you guys are prepared for it. So that's a compliment to your
Yeah, I don't think
department.
people realize Foxborough is on the 95 interstate. We run 9 motels. We're the most motels in any of the area. We talk about the liquor license in the industry, the entertainment industry that comes to Foxborough. We're not a quiet community. But our job is to make sure that we handle this and maintain safety and security for the community.
Yeah. So, bravo.
Thank you. Thank you. Great presentation, all four of you. You really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Have a good night. All right, next on the agenda, FY '25 budget. I think we'll get Paige back here, and I'm sure Marie must be on.
It's all about a team, right?
Good job, you know, the parts.
Yeah.
It's a baseball game by themselves.
Basketball team won.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Girls or boys?
Boys, varsity.
Thanks, chief.
Nice.
Bye-bye.
Were they expected to? Right.
We'll play again.
Yeah, that's great.
Hockey tomorrow night.
All right, so we're back, going to be talking about, discuss, review, maybe even approve the budget from a selectman point of view. Paige, is Marie on too? I see you.
Yes.
Okay. So where are we?
Yeah, Marie's here. So this is on your agenda because at the last meeting, Marie went over the budget for you, kind of ran through it, we presented everything. And I know Seth and Dennis had some questions/concerns, and you all hadn't had a good chance yet to review it. So we wanted to put this on the agenda for tonight. I know AdCom really appreciates hearing the select board's point of view on the budget and or approval. So we want to keep this process moving. Marie and I did have a chance to meet with Seth and Dennis, and I won't speak for them, but that's where we stand right now. So I don't know if any board members, Seth or Dennis, if you want to speak up or how you want to, go about reviewing and approving the budget, if that's the point you're at tonight.
Well, I thought both of you actually answered our questions pretty thoroughly. One was on local receipts and, whether we were understating local receipts in the budget because of recent experience. I think, I don't know, I have some documents in front of me here with some changes made since that meeting, or I know we raised some issues, and it was too early to really predict with any kind of certainty, what kind of events, for instance, we'd be having, the coming fiscal year. So that was a point that we walked through, and I think we're comfortable with where we ended. I don't want to put words in Marie's mouth, but there is still an opportunity for some improvement there. But we don't have the information now to really go out on that limb and make those improvements and put them in the budget. So I don't know, Seth, if you want to add to that. I think that was my takeaway.
Yeah, thanks. So I just wanted to get, again, a comfort level with, and I think local receipts was the area where I thought there was potentially opportunity to true up that area of the budget a little bit. I looked at 2023 actuals, and I wanted to get a sense of what 2024 was going to look like heading into 2025. And so just based on the activity that we had for concerts, that is a big driver of the local receipts, and activity at the stadium. Based on that, what Marie was able to share with us, I got to a comfort level where I thought that we were being conservative, but not lowballing or sandbagging or anything like that. So I'm comfortable with where we are from a revenue side and also from an expense perspective as well. So I'm in a good place with where we are with the budget.
Awesome, and that was the two big concerns. That was why, we had these extra couple of weeks. So, yeah, it seems like, sitting down with them made you a lot more comfortable understanding
Right.
that little nuance of how they have to figure that out.
Yep. Yeah. We did pick up some improvements as well, not a lot of money, but we did pick up some areas of opportunity that we all agreed with there, so.
Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, actually, not anything that's gonna make me not want to, if the board is ready to accept the budget. Just maybe something to help us a little bit, maybe to reflect in this budget, and then maybe to help us as we're going forward. I wish I could take full credit, but this didn't pop into my head, but a resident had asked about, and I said, geez, that's a great question. Marie, do you think at some point that we could maybe get some information about our pension obligation, where we're trending as far as, like when we hire new people, when we're negotiating the new contracts, and, what we're giving as far as, whether it's a raise or a perk or anything like that, what that's doing to our pension obligation as we're going along. And I think they were asking the question just to see if we're not overextending that, the OPEB, this is gonna go forever, as long as we're hiring people and, people are retiring, whatever. Maybe just to see what the trend is, like, maybe where we were as we've been going along. Like I said, this isn't something for necessarily, I just thought I'd bring it up, because someone mentioned it to me.
The actuaries even then, I would think
Yeah.
for Marie, but.
Yeah,
Marie.
but just to like see, where we're heading with our obligation, because obviously what we're paying, employees and stuff now, but as people live longer and they're collecting their pensions longer and stuff, just to see how we're trending. So like I said, that's not, you don't have for necessarily something for you to get into tonight, but it just, someone brought it up to me today, so I just thought maybe, it was interesting,
Would be a
to.
great little follow-up this summer after the budget process.
Yeah.
Things slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
That's an interesting question, but I think you're right.
Yeah, so
I think
that's the whole
actuary.
point of what the actuaries and I think it looks at all that stuff. I'm not an actuary, so I'm not gonna pretend that I know all the details that go into it, but that's exactly what they do when
Yeah.
you look at, it's more than just like a straight calculation.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean,
Yeah, there's a study that's done every 2 years for our OPEB. Same thing with our pension, because we are under the Norfolk County system. We essentially just get a bill from the county. We don't really have any control on the pension side. On the OPEB, like I said, we have an actuary who does. They come in every year, but the big one is every 2 years, and they basically tell you when you can expect to be fully funded. Granted, once you are quote unquote fully funded, you will have an ongoing contribution, but it won't be nearly as much as we're paying now.
But let's keep in mind, at town meeting, we just voted to make our OPEB benefit more rich. So by doing what we did for retiree spouses, I know there's been a lot of talk about that, but we all have to be real and understand that vote that we made, is going to have more of an impact and extend things and, more of a cost.
all right.
Can I just add to that, so I gave you all, so our health insurance and property and liability insurance, those numbers came in. The liability is coming in at a 5.1% increase, and health is at 5.75%. This resulted in essentially savings of $115,000. So the revised budget that you all have in front of you, the revision that we made there was to reduce free cash from $800,000 to $685,000. So those were the changes that were made recently.
And, admittedly, I was away for 9 or 10 days, so I missed some of the meetings, but the one thing that I did hear, while I was away, just the talk about the fire position, so I wasn't at the meeting, I don't know if any of you were there, but, that department did have those 2 positions cut. There's probably some other things we have to work out as far as other things that are in discussion right now, where those savings go, but just something to call out to the board that I've kind of heard some chatter about as well, for us to just be aware of.
Yeah, we didn't get into that on Monday, but I know that, I've talked to Chief Kelleher, actually. This whole impact that I brought up with Chief Grace about, the hospitals, being down, and the impact it's had on staffing and even available ambulances, and, how that's been a real, budget buster for him. So a lot of his requests for the additional staff, and they're both fire and rescue now, so it's fire and paramedics, and the first responders, they're really being impacted. And the response time for ambulances, which from a public safety point of view is what I'm interested in. Is it impacting how quickly an ambulance can get to somebody that needs them desperately, in 4 to 6 minutes because of all of these changes where if somebody has to, right now, there's only Sturdy and Good Sam where they can bring people to under the closest appropriate, facility guideline. But still, a lot of people say they're not gonna go there, they wanna go to the Brigham, they wanna go to MGH, they wanna go to Newton Wellesley, some other hospital. And, to the degree that's accommodated, that person is out of service, that ambulance is out of service. Longer, so that's an issue.
So I've also had a little chat with Chief Kelleher, and I think he's going to come back and talk to us. Would us approving the budget interfere with that, or should we wait to hear what Chief Kelleher's thoughts are officially going forward?
I think you would wait. I mean, you don't want to, the budget doesn't include an additional position. If you took my budget and applied it with the, the changes that Marie mentioned tonight, that would not include the new firefighter position or whatever, I don't know what you're contemplating. So I do think you could approve it subject to, or you could, you could ask him to come back. I don't know how you want to handle it, but.
I think we want to ask him to come back.
He might still be on. Let me see, is he still on? He's listed on the meeting.
And it might be even more vague for me, just with the health savings, like there's kind of 3 different things we can do. Do we need to, could we put that into a firefighter? Do we maybe need to get this into the community center? Do we need to just take it to free cash? So I think one more meeting, we'll kind of know some more on a couple of those, at least.
There he is.
So Mike, have you been listening to us the last couple of minutes?
Yeah.
So are you prepared to talk to us, or do you want to wait 2 weeks till our next meeting?
It's up to you. I mean, really, the request is simple. I had a request in for 2 positions. I understand some of the constraints we have with the budget. Seeing the opportunities here, I think for about $70,000, we can achieve 1 firefighter. So I think that's certainly helpful as far as, what we're looking at with our challenges. I think that kind of meets in the middle and still leaves a little bit of funding for free cash as well. So, that would be the request. I would certainly appreciate it.
I would like to propose that we take the 2 weeks to shake out, as long as it's not going to mess anything up with, AdCom. But
Right, yeah. I was wondering about AdCom. Have you been to AdCom yet?
I have been to AdCom and proposed the budget that the town manager ultimately came to. We had a long discussion about the positions. They certainly seem supportive. I don't want to speak for them, but they do seem supportive. I mean, certainly this was something that was discussed over the last couple of fiscal years. I certainly think that the need has been, certainly addressed, but
I think the need is definitely there. So, Paige, I guess I'm going to defer back to you. Do we want to, Mike, do you want to, well, I don't know, is there more of a proposal that you want to talk to about? Do we put this on hold? Do we vote? Do we want to look into adding another firefighter, using 77,000 of that?
70 will do it.
I think I'd like to maybe us take the time, like Leah said, and maybe just to throw this out at you, Mike, you might be prepared to answer, just to, I'm not saying the need isn't there, but when we talk about the ambulance stuff, another body, there isn't another ambulance. So a lot of the reasons why we're saying the ambulances are tied up, another body doesn't get you another ambulance call. So, what I'd like to do is maybe give you the fairness to come back, unless you are prepared now, to come back and to tell us what, you know what I mean, like, what that extra body does for you. I mean, just because the talk we've had here is about ambulance runs, and another body doesn't get you another ambulance run.
No, you need another
So it just might be better for him to be able to,
No, and I would always prefer to be there in person. I didn't know what the time constraint was with the budget process. I don't want to hold that up, obviously, but yeah, I'm certainly more than willing to come in and kind of give an overview of where that position lies, and, if the board's sort of feeling that, certainly in 2 weeks I can be there.
And just to add to Dennis's point, firsthand, I did get an opportunity, I was at AdCom when Mike was here, and to be able to give him and his staff a thank you. And I'm sure we're not the only people that this comes about, and his staff has to make that judgment call, but, we had to call 911 for Jimmy in December, and as the guys got there, he's a complicated patient, he's a transplant patient, so his doctor says to us that I'm supposed to, if we have to call 911, supposed to tell them the best place for him is to be at Tufts. Now, of course, they make a judgment call if there's something, like if he was having a heart attack, he has to be at the next, but, we did have to make his staff, they made the judgment call that Jimmy was stable enough to go, and yeah, so that was a trip, and I'm sure we're not the only people who, people might have certain, it's not always gonna happen, but that's the best case scenario for him, is to be where all his doctors are, because he's a little complicated, so, in all fairness, and, and Mike's staff was, the discussion we had, of course, I understood that was gonna be their call, not my call, but it was good conversation, and they ultimately did take him to Tufts, so.
Which is great.
Yeah, we certainly try to accommodate any requests that we have to transport. There's a lot of variables that went for those decisions.
Yeah.
Patient condition, obviously, is primary. If they're having a stroke or a heart attack, it's taken to the closest appropriate facility. But, if we can, and the timing's right too, it's one of the things we consider is traffic. When we go out of the city especially, the traffic can be atrocious coming back to Foxborough. It can be a 3 or 4 hour ambulance run. If we go at 8 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we have to take those things into consideration too. So it can be challenging. Certainly, we try to do our best, but, within the constraints and the confines of what the rules of DPH, we operate in, and then certainly like some of the timing and judgment calls. So we try, but not always do that.
So I would suggest this, if I can get Paige and Marie back up, not to diminish you at all, Chief, but, I'd like to hear the proposal. I'd like Chief to come in front of us in 2 weeks. Maybe I'll put a little bit of an extra burden. We're pretty comfortable close to where the budget is. Maybe we could have 2 in 2 weeks, one with the potential, if we vote to approve the extra firefighter, and maybe one, the one we have maybe now in front of us.
But just to clarify, only one going forward, not 2 budgets going forward
Correct.
again.
Oh, yeah. No. But what I'm saying is, and make that decision at the time. This one's all set, but maybe once it's tweaked, what it looks like if after Chief's presentation, we do agree that we need that extra firefighter. Is that okay? Is that too big a lift?
No, that works for me. Are you
Okay.
good with that?
Yeah, I can do them.
Okay, awesome. So we're gonna put this on hold. Chief, we're gonna put you on the agenda for 2 weeks. This way you can put your uniform on and impress the heck out of us.
Sorry, I don't mean to complicate the process.
No. It's the opportunity. You're right. Grab it. We have that extra little bit of leeway. Let's do
He
that.
just wants his own 30, Doc, he just wants his own 30 minutes of fame here. Let's do that.
He didn't want to give it all to Chief Grace, did he?
No.
Oh, by the way, you won the bet.
I know.
All right, guys.
There was never a doubt.
There
There
was
was never a doubt.
Never a doubt. Did you hear Deputy Chief say at quarter of you were doubling down?
Just saying it.
All right, so thanks, Chief. So that's good, we're going to postpone it, everybody's comfortable with that? Great. Next,
So if I could just say, Doc, I think it's important that, though we do try to vote at the next meeting, because although on the calendar, you do have another 2 weeks after that, that brings you right up to the night before. I know AdCom wants to vote, and I know they were hoping to get an earlier vote, so I think if possible, 2 weeks would be good if you could give them the info.
I think we're ready. I think we just
Yeah.
want to hear that extra little piece with,
And we'll know more about if there's another obligation.
Right.
With the potential community center, hopefully by that time.
right. All
We
right,
can email AdCom as well and have them maybe tune in and watch Chief Kelleher's
Good.
presentation, and that will help them as well in moving forward, so it doesn't have to be done twice.
and maybe we'll try to do it right after citizens input, so we could get it done early.
I'm sure he'd love that.
Well,
I do appreciate that.
all right, great, thanks, guys. Next on the agenda, town manager's update. Thank you, Marie, I think you're all set too.
All right, good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, Marie.
Right, Marie?
Okay, I'm gonna whip through this. So, MBTA communities, we had a public hearing last, Thursday night, yes, with the planning board. We had a pretty good turnout. I think a lot of the turnout was due to some concerns about, Ashcroft and that area being developed, and that is not the proposal ahead, in front of town meeting. The proposal is as discussed on the other side of Route 1, sort of closer to the Walpole line. So a lot of the people that were in the audience seem to be happy to learn it wasn't in their neighborhood, but obviously still have many concerns about the MBTA community's requirement. We all saw that Milton denied it, and then Rentham was just in the news as they might fight it. So I can report the Attorney General did file notification that they're going to be suing Milton, so it's really coming down. So like we've always said, the town of Foxborough is just going to do what's required by law, bring it to town meeting, and go from there. And that's really all we can do at this point.
Paige, did you hear, I heard that,
Yeah.
was Rentham voting tonight? Did you might have just heard just because of your plan, obviously your planning background too. Was Rentham voting tonight on it? Did you hear
I'm not
that?
sure if it was tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll hear though, once I saw the headlines, but I didn't get any inside information at this point. But I'll keep you posted, because that is interesting.
Yeah.
It's an interesting point of view to take. I don't know that I would recommend, I wouldn't want Rentham to be at the forefront of that fight. I'd rather, sort of stay in the middle, But we'll see what they do. Speaking of town meeting, we have right now 31 articles, and many of them are substantive. So it's going to be a big meeting. In fact, we're starting to plan for a contingency in case it's 2 nights. I know the moderator would prefer to do 2 Monday nights in a row, but we have to check and see what the school availability is and whatnot, because we have talked about whether if we did slide to the second night, would it be the following night or would it be the following week? And I think Frank expressed a preference for the following week, but all subject to scheduling. But just a heads up on that. Obviously, none of us want that to happen, but just in case. I am going to be doing some short segments on Foxborough cable access. To cover some of the more controversial or substantive issues like MBTA communities, auditorium, DPW building, probably the community center, so that folks, maybe if it's only 10 minutes or so, a little bit of facts on video, people could they'll run it on cable access, and hopefully people will catch them over the next couple months, and that'll at least bring folks to town meeting feeling like they know a little bit more. So that's a plan to kind of do a little outreach and communication. Speaking of the substantive issue that'll be on town meeting floor, one of them is the Summit Casting Building. And I have on the agenda, you'll see that we were scheduling a March 25th Community Information Forum on 131 Moore Street, and also the removal of the dam that's required, and we wanted to daylight that issue. I've since learned from Matt Brennan that the Board of Health does not want to do it on March 25th, they want to do it on April 22nd. So subject to final scheduling, the March 25th is definitely off, and I think we're going to go for the April 22nd community forum, and we will televise that, and again, in hopes of educating folks before we get to town meeting. Grants, we've got a couple grants, we always have a couple to tell about. We've gotten the Municipal Cybersecurity Awareness Grant, so Foxborough is eager to partner on that. And then we've got Mass Cultural Council grant, allocated $9,200 to our Cultural Commission. And right now, we're in the process of applying for federal funding for the pedestrian bridge over Route 1. With the World Cup coming, we think we might have an opportunity to grab some of the federal dollars, so we've been working hard. It's due tomorrow, so we're working on that. Human resources, we interviewed a couple people for a director of land use and economic development. It was really just screening, the planning board's more involved with that, but we wanted to get a couple people in to sort of screen them, and then if they make it to the next step, they go in front of the planning board and work through the interview process there. We still have a water tech, veteran service officer. I heard we've had a few good applications, so that's great news. We have a part-time, non-benefited human resources specialist, so that's a great little position to have to help Paige Apolito out. That was full-time, we cut that down to part-time, no benefits. We just hired a payroll administrator. Unfortunately, Julie left, but we were fortunate to just hire someone, and she'll be starting March 11th. And we also found ourselves a communication specialist. Maura Buckley is starting with us on March 11th. So I hope to have her come in on March 12th for an introduction to the board, so you all can meet her. She's a local gal. And let's see, going on to the permits, we have on the common, oh no, that's the old one. On your agenda, you have the permits. Let me pull those up. My printout is out of date here. Let me pull those up. Here we go. We have Girls Lacrosse. We have the Easter egg hunt on the common, March 23rd, 10 to noon. That has an egg hunt and pictures with the Easter bunny. Then we're getting into spring, so this is going to be exciting. We have a car wash. That's the first time of spring with the high school girls lacrosse team. That's May 18th from 10 to 12. And then JC's concert on the Common. That's a definite sign of summer. June 6th, 13th, 20th, 27th, and July 11th, 18th, 25th, and August 1st, 8th, and 15th, with rain dates of August 22nd and 29th. And that's always from 7 to 9 p.m. And that is all I have.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Paige. Anything under new business? Anybody got anything for selectmen?
I saw that the Crafts posted 30 years of ownership of the team. Just wanted to, I think I saw that while I was away, right?
Oh, I don't know. Have they owned it 30 years?
Not making it up, but I thought I saw that, so just congratulate their ownership of the
I
team.
think you might be right. I think we saw that on the Dynasty program. If anybody's watching Dynasty, I think it was 1994, so you're probably absolutely right.
Yeah, so just wanted to recognize that.
All right, and also, I don't know, like me, I go walking all around downtown, but, one of the things that the King Group, when they did the apartment, was tear down that house and use that lot for a lot of their equipment. A lot of their equipment's off of it, and they've since paved it and lined it. So we've got another little mini parking lot. It's not official yet. They're still using it. But just want to let everybody know that it is paved and it's coming soon.
Doc, if I could just interject on
Yeah.
that is, the board is gonna have to come up with a policy on that parking lot. So that's something we'll have to, I should probably, Katie, if you could throw that on an upcoming agenda. We might wanna come up with some guidelines, you're gonna allow overnight parking there? Is it, residential, commercial, is it 2 hour? I mean, are there any parameters with this new lot that the board would like to think? So if you want to think about it and send me an email and let me know your ideas, we can brainstorm and come up with a draft for you all to approve at some point in the near future.
Paige, speaking of parking lots, the sign should go in at the Schneider lot with the warm weather coming in the next week or so, hopefully. So just trying to always encourage people to remember that that is a giant lot, walkable to much of the common, including the theater and, most of the restaurants up there. So hoping that the sign and the lighting that's done and some of the trimming will make it just a little bit more visible and inviting to people to know that it's a place to park.
Yeah, we got real close to that sign going in. didn't we? We got real close.
It's now reconfirmed, though. It's gonna go in this week, so.
Yes, so that'll be great.
What's the status of the lighting, Leah?
I was out there and it looked like the lighting was done, and I had heard it was done and the trimming was done when I was out there during the day and then I went back at night. So if we still think there's more lights needed,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty much pitch black.
there's one light when you go in that's kind of straight here that used to be lit that's now off, I noticed.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't park in the pitch black. I wouldn't, you know.
Okay,
All
I
right,
can
well,
swing back at night because
I'll
there
take a
is some
look,
lights
too.
there. I think that the big one may be, I don't know if
I think
it's,
something's out, but I think
Okay.
that's gonna be, people are not gonna wanna be over there
yeah.
in the dark.
All right, good point.
Yep.
We'll look into that. Action items?
So,
Oh,
I think
sorry.
I did, unaffiliated with Allie's Cookies, but I do live really close, and I did think, I think they're adding hours on Friday, so.
Yes.
For the cookie people out there, you know, if you swing by on Friday, they may be open.
And they're amazing,
Yeah,
dangerous,
Really good.
They're amazing.
And you freeze them? I had one from, someone gave me a gift basket, and you just can only eat so many, like 5 in the house, so I had a frozen one. And I forgot about the frozen one in my freezer for like a month. And the other day, I noticed it, and oh my gosh, I put it in my air fryer. It was brand new, so.
Oh, man.
If you find one, if you throw one in your freezer, they're really good.
Oh, boy.
And I'm not affiliated with them in any manner either, so.
All right.
All right, so we've got 6 action items. So the first one, motion to approve an additional data sheet for Monster Energy Supercross on April 13th, 6 PM to about 10:30 PM, and Monster Jam 2024 on April 20th from 3 PM to 7:30 PM.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Another sign of spring, the motion to approve the use of public way application for Foxborough Youth Baseball and Softball Opening Day Parade on April 13th from 10 AM to 11 AM, and the route is to move down Bird Street, Railroad Ave, through the Common to South Street to end at Booth Field.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Motion to accept a donation of $20,000 from the Friends of Foxborough Seniors to help purchase a new van for the Council on Aging.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you, Mr. Dumas. I see you're in the audience here for that one as well. All right, motion to accept a donation, again, from the Friends of Foxborough Seniors for the Christmas Carol performance for the Council on Aging. There's actually 2 separate checks for $375 each, so 2 for $375.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
All right, and then the last one is just approval of minutes from February 13th, 2024 meeting.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
All right, and motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Good night, everybody.